Hello and welcome to How to Prepare Your Employees for an Economic Slowdown. Let's bring on our amazing guests. First up, we have Susie Orman. Susie is a personal finance expert and co-founder of SecureSave. Susie has been called a force in the world of personal finance and a one-woman financial advice powerhouse by USA Today.
Yeah, a lot of times you save up for something like you want to save to go on vacation. You want to save maybe for a down payment on a car. You want to save for things that you want to do.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to hand it off to Mission Control, Monique.
You got to set those boundaries. You have to set boundaries. If you don't, they will.
Y'all ain't gonna do jack. Let's keep it real. Because you know why? You know why?
Why?
It's human nature. Right? It's human nature, right? It's human.
So we have to give them a little nudge.
We got to give them a little nudge. It is human nature to get all the information you could get, all the information that you know will help you to excel, right? All the information that you know will take you to the next level. You take your notes, you go home, you read your notes, and next thing you know, you got tons and tons of books with nothing but notes on it, and you did not do anything about it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay,
right.
It's true.
Okay.
I've done it.
I have done it too, several times. Excuse me, of all the times.
John Lawson is not just any entrepreneur. He's an award-winning dynamo with a best-selling book to his name. His journey from consulting to Fortune 100 giants at Accenture to championing the cause of small businesses is nothing short of inspiring. Harnessing his vast expertise, John now mentors budding entrepreneurs, guiding them through the intricacies of social commerce, cutting-edge e-commerce techniques, and online marketing game plans. His relentless dedication to the broader digital business landscape has earned him widespread recognition and accolades. John's insights into the evolving digital marketplace have netted him 2 Small Business Influencer Awards. Furthermore, his book, Kick-Ass Social Commerce for E-preneurs, didn't merely capture attention. It clinched the Business Book of the Year award, underlying his influential presence in the digital business domain. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to John Lawson. John, how are you, my friend?
What's up? How are you, Mo?
I am good. I am good. So thank you for taking out the time. We know you're a busy man, and the fact that we are having you as our closing keynote is greatly, greatly appreciated. So real quickly, though, what do you have in store for us today? What are you going to share with us quickly today?
We're going to talk about, just kind of probably like the 5 things that I've learned after being a e-commerce and online business owner for the last 22 years now.
Nice.
I know.
All right.
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Well, without further ado, the floor is yours.
So here's the deal, man. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time, but if I kind of rewind it back, like the first thing that I ever sold online were some Elton John tickets. And this is back in the late 90s when Elton had kind of disappeared from the scene. Because in the earlier part of the 90s, he was kind of cleaning up, 70s, 80s, drugs, rock and roll, sex, all that good stuff. And he did this comeback tour. And I was able to get tickets to his event. And it was Madison Square Garden. I had lower level tickets, right? And I was so ready to go see this comeback tour. It actually became an HBO special in the whole nine. However, I forgot to get the time off from my work environment, and they wouldn't let me off. They had a big update in our data center that weekend, and everybody was on call. And so I had to sell the tickets. And a friend of mine, reminded me, hey, you can just sell them on eBay. And I was like, oh, okay, let me throw these on eBay. So I put them on eBay, and tickets that I paid, I believe at the time, they were like $85 a piece. Now, granted, I mean, I just came back from the Beyonce tour. I paid a grip. Let me just say, I paid a grip to be in the audience lower level for Beyonce. But these, 20 years ago, 20 some odd years ago, $85 seemed like a lot. I put these on eBay, and nobody was bidding on them, right? Until something happened. And that something that happened was the last hour of the bidding. All of a sudden, those tickets that I paid $85 for each, right? 85 each, were going like at 100. Then it went up to 200, then up to 300. And the last 10 minutes, it went from like 350 all the way up to 850. And I was like, whoa. I was totally sold after that. After the ticket sold, I was sold, and I recognized that there was opportunity with online selling, and particularly with eBay. So that's how I got kind of started in the online selling world. This is a old picture of my eBay feedback profile, but I mean, it gives you the idea. And I'm just looking at it with glee, because it's like, wow, I remember those days. But I mean, I've got over 100,000 feedback. I did over 250,000 transactions online. I've been, like she read off, I've been on American Express commercials. I've worked for Accenture. I've done work with probably every or most of the big players in e-commerce, the eBays, the Amazons, been on the stages for UPS, FedEx, all of this stuff that I've been able to do over the years and been really blessed to do. So that's kind of where I'm coming from and how I'm speaking to you, right? So like I mentioned, I was in corporate, and I was never, ever the employee of the month. I actually was a really poor employee, right? And it wasn't like I was really bad as an employee, but I wasn't like ever trying to win employee of the month. I was always doing just enough, right, to not get fired. That was me. I was just not into it, and I was always sitting in my cubicle at the time. That's what we had, the big cubicles. And I'm just always thinking of a master plan. It's like, how can I get out of this environment? And of course, one day I had a great idea. Another friend of mine is a different friend. He comes to me and says, hey, why don't we flip a house? You've got good credit. I've got the hustle, and I know how to get this done. I just need somebody to co-sign for it. And when we got to the closing table, it wasn't really a co-sign. It was a me sign. I signed for the home. And long story short, we took a dilapidated home in Atlanta area on the corner of Joseph Lowry and Martin Luther King Boulevard. And we turned that dilapidated home into this beautiful little, what was it? It was supposed to be a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. However, when I drove up and saw, wow, the yard's been put in. Wow, they painted the house, put new siding on it. I'm like, wow, this thing looks great. I go and walk through the house, and they had turned it into a 2-bedroom, 2 bath. Now, look, hey, let me just tell you guys, if you don't know, for those of you who don't know, when it comes to putting families in Section 8 housing, if you have a 2-bedroom house versus a 3-bedroom house, the amount of money that you can get for that home is completely different. And so since we only had 2 bedrooms, and suddenly I couldn't get the money out that I had put in. So every month, I'm going to be losing money if I turn this into a rental. So I'm standing at the door front. I'm like, what the fuck? What just happened? I can't say the fuck, but I just said it. But I'm like, what happened? Right? And so basically, that home, we never were able to really affordably rent it and turn it around. And so these pictures that I showed you in the beginning, this is what they did to the house after I had put all the money in, and after it was all fixed up. They came in, stole all the new appliances, stole the HVAC system, and I suddenly, with my little job over there at Accenture, I'm making like 50 grand a year, and I can't afford it. I can't afford to have 2 mortgages at the same time, right? And all of a sudden, I feel like I am totally drowning. I've got a whole lot on me, and the water line is right at my nose, man. And it just feels like I'm going to drown. I'm going to drown. And I just didn't know really what to do. And then it hit me, that eBay thing, right? So the deal was, when I was a consultant with Accenture, they would give us this stipend for education. And since I was an IT guy, I used to buy a lot of these big, thick books. They were like Q books, QUE books, and they would teach you how to code and different languages and stuff. And they actually had value, right? After I read the book, learned the language in the book, I really didn't need the book anymore. So I started selling used books on eBay. And that got me a little bit above that water. And suddenly, I learned really kind of like my first lesson. And I got this from, like Bill Gates. It's fine to celebrate your success, but it's more important to heed the lessons of failure. So it's like, yes, I celebrate the fact that I created a business on eBay, but I have to always take into account all of the lessons that I learned from the failure of the house, right? Because that was really my first foray into trying to be an entrepreneur. And we made a lot of mistakes there, but that planted the seed in me, right? And so at some point, of course, I'm going to run out of books, and I don't have any more things to sell around my house. And one day I'm sitting in a Waffle House, and it's a Sunday morning. Me and my spouse are sitting there, we're having breakfast, and I've got this thing in my hand, and then the thing that I have in my hand, I have to explain it for, if any of you are Gen Z, or maybe even if you are even a little bit older and a millennial. It was called a newspaper. Okay. Yes, we used to actually get information from dead trees with printed ink on them. And so I'm sitting in this Waffle House, I'm reading this newspaper, and out of the newspaper falls the sales circular. So every Sunday, I guess it still happens. I haven't seen a paper in a long time, unless it's a Wall Street Journal, or getting on the plane, they give you one of those kind of vibes, right? But in the Sunday papers, we had these huge sales circulars, right? And at the time, there were multiple office supply stores that were competing against one another for new customers, right? And they would run these sales circulars inside of the newspapers. and give out CDs free after rebate. Now, again, you're Gen Z. Let me explain it to you. You know, we didn't have these were clouds. This was the cloud for us. We would have to put things on digital. We put digital things on these hard CDs, and we could record on them. And that's how we kept our data. Believe it or not. I know. That's right. I'm a dinosaur. We do exist. All right. And so they had these sales circulars, and they would give out free after rebate CDs. Right. So you could go in, it was their doorbuster special on Saturdays and Sundays. You could go in and get 100 stack or even a 500 stack of CDs, and they would be free after rebate. So, hey, I'm a pretty enterprising kind of guy. I'm like, look, I don't need 100 CDs. Most people didn't need 100. They probably needed, 5 or 10, back up some photos, get some programs, whatever. And I took the 100 packs and would break them up into 10 and 5 packs and sell those on eBay. Now get it, I'm getting them absolutely free after I get the rebate money, and then break them up, sell them, ship them, and keep that money. It was a great hustle. It was a great hustle, right? But it was still like, nickel and dime. I'm still working my job kind of vibe. So the next level was these things called printers. Again, we used those with dead trees, and we would print on them. But the deal was, when they first came out, that's why Shaq does the commercial today about, oh, you can put as much ink as you want because this is refillable ink cartridges. Back in the day, the ink was what made the money. It wasn't the printer. They would give you the printer free after rebate, right? Just so that you would be stuck on buying the ink to replenish every time. So using that same business model I had from the CDs, we'd go and we'd buy the printers. We'd open the printer box, take the expensive ink, right? This is the thing that everybody needs to buy. We would take those starter cartridges out, close the box back up, resell this free after rebate printer as an open box, no ink. And we would make pretty good money back. We would make, back what we paid for it. However, we still had the ink cartridge, which was the main thing that I was selling. And so we would sell that. So we were selling the printer and the ink cartridges, making good money because why? It was free after rebate again, right? So that's what we would do. We would open those boxes, I'd close them up, and that's kind of, what it looked like. That's phase 2. So now the seed that's been planted is starting to burst through, right? We're starting to see the results of that seed that was planted in my head, right? And I took that money and I invested it in something called Tickle Me Elmo. See, I think even to this day, if we actually did a research on the hottest toys for Christmas and take out, the PlayStations and the Xboxes of the world, all right, you take out the computer game, and I would argue that Tickle Me Elmo was probably one of the biggest toy seasons ever. All right. Everybody wanted this Tickle Me Elmo. And the deal was, since I was doing all of the, I would get the Sunday sale circulars, go around to all the stores, pick up those CDs, then pick up those printers. I started having relationships. So I built relationships with people that were stock, people, because I'd be like, dude, you got some more. I just checked online. They say you have X in the store. Please go look in the stock area, see if you got some back there, because there's supposed to be some in the store. That was our, kind of relationship. They knew I was coming in, basically, because we do it every week. And so I had that relationship with them. And then the deal is, and for those of you that, know about the toy cycle, in reality, the Christmas toys drop the first time in September, right? So stores get stocked in September for October. And what happened with these Tickle Me Elmos is that the initial stock that came in early sold out darn near immediately. And so everybody was waiting for them to restock for the real holiday season before, Black Friday. And so I had relationships with those guys, in those stores. So I called them up. I was like, bro, hey, next time Tickle Me Elmo arrives, just call me, let me know. I'll be there. You don't have to hold them. Just let me know that they're there. I'm in. Right. And so what happened was when the next drop came in, I drove around the city of Atlanta and got an entire van full of Tickle Me Elmo. I mean, we were the Tickle Me Elmo king for a minute, right? And the deal was, I knew the cycle. I've been doing Amazon. It was eBay at the time. I'd been doing eBay for a while at that time. And so I knew that if I held the ones that I got at the end of October, early November, if I held those to just the last 2 weeks of Christmas, it was going to be like, it was going to be crazy. So literally, the toy that we bought at $35 a piece were going for between $3 and $3.50 a piece. So we were 10xing our money on these Tickle Me Elmos, and they were high ticket. It was a high ticket, thing. So that when I'm doing the printers, I might make $50. When I do the CDs, I might make 10, $20. But now we're pulling in $200 and $300. So I take that money, and no, I didn't just go and blow it and have a vacation. We took that money and we started buying computers that were refurbished from Dell, right? So we found that you could go to Dell Outlet. I think you can still do that today. Go to DellOutlet.com and you can get basically a brand new Dell that somebody returned because they didn't like the color, So the deal was they would refurbish these, put them back, and as you notice, these are the big old desktop versions from back in the day, But this, what you're looking at, is my dining room. My entire dining room and living room area was filled with Dell deliveries. So we'd get the Dell computers, and then we'd relist them on eBay. All right. Like I said, these are all refurbished. They had a warranty and all of that goodness. And we would take them, put them on eBay. Now, this is the picture that I would use of the product, right? I got it from the Dell website. The problem was Dell was not happy because we suddenly became the #1 seller of refurbished Dells on Amazon, I get say, keep that, eBay, right? So I get a cease and desist letter from the people that I actually spent my money with to buy the product from them. I get a cease and desist letter from them saying, you can't use our stuff because, and they didn't tell me what the because was, but they didn't want me, using it because our business and our footprint on eBay was actually bigger than Dell's footprint. We were selling more of their product on the platform than they were. And so I get a cease and desist letter from them. And you know what I ended up doing with this picture? I took it out the box, took my own daggone picture. And then I was so kind of like, honestly, I was a little bit pissed off, right? So what I did is I found a scantily clad woman, and that's really what I was looking for. I was like, let me find something that I could put on here that would be okay in terms of, on the platform where they wouldn't shut me down for something that's lewd or anything. And I found a image of a female, put her on there, said hot deals, and the picture of the Dell. And I really did that so that when people would look up Dell, this would be the image they would see. And it would just be, my little screw you to Dell for telling me I can't use the professional pictures that I was using from before. Here's the lesson learned that, of course, eBay is an auction platform. So what ended up happening is that when we had these pictures, the auction prices would end and we would get 20% more in spend simply because of this picture, because nothing else changed in our ad except for the picture. And all of a sudden, I learned a new lesson. All right. So what's lesson number 2? Keep calm and be consistent. You're going to have a whole lot of things in your business that happen to you. If you are the CEO, you are the owner, you're the founder, whatever it is, you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, you got to keep calm because there's always something coming around the corner and you can't be popping off every time that something happens. You got to think. I did pop off. I got the scantily clad lady, but I was like, I figured out how I'm going to navigate this issue with them in the photos. I'll take my own, right? So the deal is, if you have a hammer and that's the only tool you have, then oftentimes you will apply that to all situations in your business. But there's only certain situations that a hammer is good for. It's not good for polishing your car. You know what I'm saying? So that is one of the lessons that I took away. And what I started learning about in my business was this thing I call the profit ladder, right? And so all of us want more profits. I got more profits because I changed images on and I tested. More than anything, it was really a test. I didn't know if it was going to work. I wasn't even trying to make it work, but I do know that I want more profits. And so the deal is, you've got leads that come into your funnel or into your pipeline, right? And of those leads, your conversion rate on those leads equals the number of people that become your customers. Very simple mathematics, right? Because it's all mathematics. You get 100 leads, you got a 10% conversion rate, you have 10 new customers, right? So customers, if we're going down the ladder, we got leads, conversion, customers. The next one is number of transactions, right? So if your customer buys from you one time, the number of transactions, if let's say an actual transaction equals $100, right? If they come and they spend $100 with you, they do that one time, then guess what? Your revenue is what? $100, right? But what if they come back and they spend that same $100 with you 2 times in a year? And I'll never forget, my friend Brent Leary really started teaching me, and helping me understand customer relationship management. I didn't have any idea what that really was at the time. I was like, what do you do? What the hell is that? I still ask him that. But but he was telling me about CRM and how you take the system to be able to understand your customer, make them offers at the right time, and put content in front of them when they're ready to make these kind of decisions. And you bring a single customer, the same customer, if you just bring your same customers back to shop with you one more time in a 12-month period, you've just changed the top and the bottom line for your business. So if I want to increase profits, the easiest way to do that is to increase the number of times your current customers come back and buy with you, or get them to add something else into the cart, right? So it's one of the 2 ways. So customers, number of transactions equals times the dollar sale, right? Which is the cart value, is going to equal your revenue, right? And then revenue, what you bring in, times the margins. The margins is after everything else has been paid, right? So if I have a $100 thing and I paid $40 for it, my margin on that thing is 60%, right? I don't know why I'm looking up there. I should be right. So the revenue times your margins equals your profit, and profits are what you put into your pocket. So once I learned this profit ladder, I recognize that there are more than one. It's no longer a hammer, right, for me. So the hammer used to be, oh, we just need more customers. We need more customers. We need more customers, right? But now I understand that I can actually get the current customers that I have right now to just add one more thing into the cart. That can increase our profit. Or I can get them to come back to me more times in a year and churn faster. That brings them back, right? And that brings up my profit. And there's just different ways. We're talking about your margin, right? Well, if I save some money on the back end, when it comes to putting things in stock, whoever handles that, making sure that I've got the best price on shipping with the different providers, making sure that I'm using the right packaging so that it's not oversized and it would cost me less. All of those things also go to the profit. So now I'm not stuck with just this one hammer. I've got multiple levers to pull. All right. So now that little teeny itty bitty kind of, plant that I've planted from that seed is now growing, right? And now it's starting to really, turn into that tree. And here's the thing. Big key takeaway for me is stop. I don't know how to say this, nicely, but I study the 1% and I don't pay attention to the 99 other people that are in that room. I'm looking only at the 1%. If I want to do and grow and be the best that we can be, then study the 1%. Stop messing around. You spend too much time listening to people that are on the same level as you. I'm not trying. If I just study what the 1% do, I'm going to have results of the 1%. So anyway, lesson number 3. Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but a lifelong attempt to acquire it. There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. See, TikTok, social media is full of knowledge. All right. People tell you all kind of stuff on there. Could be true. A lot of it probably ain't, right? But a lot of the stuff that's on there is not wisdom. People, you don't get wisdom just by reading a book. You get wisdom by taking what you learn in the book and applying it and then seeing the outcome. That's wisdom. So I think this is funny. This has been a recent meme about would you choose dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000? And this guy's right. I'll explain since most can't comprehend. Dinner with Jay-Z is the better option over 500,000 because of the knowledge and expertise that he has. He'll give you the blueprint of being wealthy and successful. His knowledge will be worth in the long term more than that $50,000. Now, hey, that's his opinion. I'd probably take the 50K or the 500K, but I'm just saying, I'll take the 500K and then maybe just take Jay out to lunch, buy Jay a drink one day. You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. And, being in the room with the right people, that 1% is very important to you in your business. Here's something that you may or may not know. Did you know that only 45% of our decisions that we make, we actually make consciously? Most of our decisions, we don't even make consciously. Matter of fact, most of our decisions are based on habits that we have. And this is a training about the habit loop, right? So the deal is, if you want to change your habits, you've got to change something inside of this loop. And if you change something inside of this loop, it will help you change your habits. How do we know this? There is this bionic rat. This bionic rat. It's not really bionic rat, but they did a study with mice. And what they ended up doing is they would put the mouse in a maze, right? And at the end of the maze, they would put a piece of cheese, right? And so what they would do is put the mouse at the beginning of the maze and then have a 4 walls all around it. And then they would open the door. When they opened the door, it would make a sound. So that was their cue. If I go back to this routine, the cue, that was the trigger, right? So the mouse is in the blocked room, it makes a noise, the door opens. That's the cue for the mouse to be able to enter into the maze. So what they ended up doing is they would put the cheese right in front of the mouse. So it'd run into the maze, like I got the maze because it's like left and right. It would run into the maze, go directly to the cheese, right? Then they would check the brain functions of the mouse and see how the mouse's brain is all moving and it's trying to find the cheese, right? So the next time, what they do is they put it in the room, they move the cheese to the right side of the maze, and they sound the alarm again, or sound the cue again, open the door, and immediately the mouse runs forward to where the cheese used to be. The thing is that what they found is that there was no brain activity, or no, not no, but low brain activity for the mouse to do that the second time. First time, a lot of brains going, I can smell the cheese, let me go get it, bam. Second time, it's a habit, you know? So they do this over and over again, right? And they recognize that if they move the cheese, suddenly the first thing that the rat would do or the mouse would do would be going forward. That's the habit. And then they had the mouse had brain waves that would move, and it would be like, I got to find the cheese. I can smell it. I got to find it. Right. And then it would go to the right and find the cheese. See? So what has been deduced from that is that what we do repeatedly is habitual, and we don't use a lot of brain cells to do that. Our brain activity is very low, right? But for more complex things, or things that are outside of that habit loop, we have to use our brain. So in order to teach ourselves a new habit, you've got to change something in that routine, right? So the deal is if you want to change the things that you're doing and be more productive, because I did hear, I believe Barry was talking about this earlier, or was it yesterday or day before yesterday, you know, about how to change habits and do things repeatedly until they become habitual. It's important, right? So the deal is, I had an instance where my Facebook account, and I used to spend a lot of time on Facebook. Facebook account gets hacked. Well, what that ended up doing is that immediately broke my habit loop. And since I couldn't get on Facebook, I found other things way more productive to do. But see, they understand, right, that if they make Facebook to make certain noises, you'll respond to that cue, just like the mouse responds to the cue. When the door opened, they would make a noise. That was the cue. That's why all of these apps make these noises, because these noises get you to respond. It just made a noise just right now, right? It's like, I know that noise. I know what that noise is. That's the noise for Messenger. It should be me checking my messages. See what I'm saying? You want to break that loop, you got to change your habit. And that's going to make you more consistent. All right. So now my tree is doing what it's supposed to do. It's bearing fruit. And that's why you plant the seed, right? Because inside the fruit is what? More seed, right? That's how you grow a garden, right? But there's always somebody out there trying to take your fruit. So lesson number 4, and this one is a real life lesson that I applied to my business, right? So I put this, I live in Georgia, I got a peach tree out there, right? I realized that if I let the fruit sit on the tree too long, the animals will come eat it. Once it's ripe, they know to come on back and grab the low-hanging fruit. And so I lost a whole lot of my peaches the first year that we put this up. This is not, you can tell that's not the first year tree. But the first year that we put ours up, we had them come out and eat up all of the fruit on the tree. Between them and the damn squirrels, I got 0 fruit for all the labor I put in and putting it the tree. Okay, it wasn't me, it was my spouse. All right, he's the tree guy. So, but the deal is, I learned something very, very important, is that when the fruit is ripe, you gotta harvest, right? You can't be hemming and hawing and sticking on the sideline and wondering, right? So we're in the 4th quarter right now. Right now, this is the time to harvest your fruit. Some of y'all are still trying to build audiences. You didn't build your audience all year long. Today, right now, 4th quarter, this is harvest time. This is not the time to be planting. This is the time to go and reap. Reap your rewards, all right? And then my final lesson is stay in your lane. And man, it's a hard thing sometimes, because as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, we get so overwhelmed with crap. So many areas. Should I be doing more social media? Should I be doing, more SEO? Should I be doing some more ad spend? It's just so many things. What platform should I be on? Should I be on Facebook? Should I be on TikTok? Oh, I heard TikTok is kicking, right? We just constantly pulled in multiple directions. And I will tell you, man, here's the 5 things that I actually learned. My 5 key takeaways are to celebrate your success and heed all those failures. Keep calm, be consistent, study the 1%, and opportunity is taken, not given. Those damn deer, they're pretty, they're cute, but they took the opportunity. It wasn't given to them. They saw the fruit, they didn't plant it, they took it, right? So you've got to recognize that opportunity is taken, not given. And finally, stay in your lane. Where's your lane of expertise? Let's stay there. Outsource the other things. All right. Find somebody else to handle the things you're not good at. All right. And just you focus in. My name, John Lawson. You can find me at johnlawson.com or reach me, john@johnlawson.com. I have no idea how long I was supposed to go, so I probably went over. Or maybe I'm on time. Who knows? But it's been great chatting with you guys. All right.
All right, John, thank you so much for your presentation. We're actually on time, but if you have
time.
Yes, if you have a few minutes, we do have some questions for you if you're open to answering any questions.
Yes.
All right. So.
Oh, you know what? I know it's in outline mode instead of full screen. I don't know what it is. When I try to go full screen on Zoom from Keynote, it just always acts up. You should teach me that.
Actually, I was about to say, let me teach you. Okay, I'll have to teach you that. All right. All right. So the first question that we have here, and you had a lot of people drumming up conversation in here, especially some good friends of yours like Brent Larry talking about Colder Ice and his nickname for you. But our first question here is, you've talked about your failures. I think this is what stops a lot of people from getting started. How do you overcome that fear?
Just do it. I mean, it's just do it. I mean, look, if you're standing and you're saying, hey, I want to jump out of a plane, there's nothing that's going to change the way you feel when that damn door opens and the wind starts hitting you in your face. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, snap, I'm about to jump out of a really good plane. And the only way to get over that is to jump, right? It's like I speak on stage and there's nothing that I can do to tamper the butterflies that I get, I just know that's part of the process. I'm just going to have that until I get on the stage and just do what I do, So you just got to do it. I mean, what's going to happen? You fail, so what? Who cares? Nobody can. You know what? It's better to fail than to just be a failure.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
go.
I love it. And this is a piggyback. So maybe this is similar to what you just said here, but this other question is, you also talked a lot about building relationships. Suppose you're an introvert, but still have a drive to become an entrepreneur. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, that's a good, that's a good, okay. I just came up with one.
Okay.
I was going to give you a couple, but I'm always into analogy mode, right? So
Yeah.
it's called a wingman. Get a wingman, right?
Yeah.
So try to meet just one good person, right? Get out of your comfort zone a little bit, jump out of the plane, at least sit down next to somebody else that you don't know. And then that person often will become a wing person for you and start oh, I know what you do. Here, let me do this, because you're just not going to get, what do they say? A closed mouth does not get fed. And there's just no way around it. There's no way around it. So if you want to be in this game, part of that is who you know, right? You can get there, but you get there a lot faster when you make connections, because people introduce you to more people and other opportunities. And really all of my business, I would believe, has some element of, like I kept saying, and a friend told me, and it really did happen like that.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. So next question, what would you say to someone in the same position you were 20 years ago, working a job they hate and looking for that first side hustle? Where would you suggest to start?
Don't quit your job. Because it's really funny. And I remember, I tell the last boss that I had, the last time I saw her, I was like, thank you so much. She's like, what? For what? I was like, for being a bitch. I mean, you were just such a bitch to me. And she really was. And we laughed, right? Because she really felt, here's the thing, like I said in there, that I wasn't a great work. She felt that there was more in me. And she recognized that, and it would irritate her. But the deal is, the first thing I think a lot of people do is try to replace their job. Like they'll start a business and then quit their job. And it's their job that is possibly fueling those fledgling first years or first months of your business. So if you can do both, then you got the 9 to 5 and then the 5 to 9 to do what you need to do, and then create a plan and get a budget together before you walk away from that job you hate. But I guarantee you, and this was me too, when you have that kind of like fallback vibe of like, my business is taking off, all of a sudden going to work is not the same as when you feel like you're trapped.
That's a very, very key point. Yes, I can agree with you on that. Yes, you have a different mindset about this, and you're like, hey, this is what's fueling my business that I'm starting, or the side hustle.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to leave you.
Yeah.
I'm so, trust me, I'm 3 months away. Keep messing with me.
Right.
That kind of vibe. It just made it a lot more palatable.
Right. Next question. What are the top questions you should ask when choosing the right products or services to climb the profit ladder? And by the way, that was a great diagram that you shared with us.
Cool. Yeah. The profit ladder. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, man. And somebody told me this. I'm looking at this picture. I can't remember. I'm looking at this picture behind my thing. And there's a couple of sayings that I always have playing around my mind, right? Is that you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. See, too many people start thinking about, man, I can sell that for such and such, man, I can make something. No, you want to get it at the right price when you buy so that you can make your money, not about when you sell. So let's say in retail, I need to get, especially if I'm doing it on, platforms like an Amazon, which is where I do my business really a lot now. We have to get our products at 25% of the retail value. Why? Because first, we can't sell it at retail value because we're not a retailer. Those are the people we're trying to compete against. So we have to come in below them, right? And then we also need enough money and movement that if we have to liquidate, we can at least get our money back, right? So that's how I've come up with my 25% rule, because I can always get rid of it at 25% off of the retail value to get my money back.
All right, I like that. Thank you. This next question is based on what you shared as well in your presentation. You say entrepreneurs need to keep educating themselves. What is your best advice for entrepreneurs to stay educated?
You know, I'm old school, read a book. But and I say that to be kind of funny, but I'm serious. I mean, and I don't even read books, I do the Audible thing. I've always got something queued up on Audible, and I like podcasts, right? So you just got to kind of constantly fill yourself with new ideas and new thoughts, even though, to be honest, there's really nothing new under the sun. Okay?
Right.
Okay, AI is new. I'll give you that, you know. But conceptually in business is pretty universal, right? So you're talking about, if you go back to the age of like Brent's age, when they used to, you know, carry water on their back, you know, back. But business principles are universal, and they go and they work over and over again. So learn.
All right, one last question for you. This is actually me from the top of my head, because you mentioned AI. So we had quite a few speakers speak about AI, from LinkedIn to content creation to SEO. And so I know there were quite a few times, or a handful of times, some people have asked about AI for e-commerce. Have you been using AI for e-commerce? And if so, what would you say is like the top thing, or something someone needs to really be on top of to really take off in the e-commerce industry?
Okay, great question, man. If you're doing e-commerce, man, you know, I think the most important part of the e-commerce game at this point is your landing page. All right. And so I know so many people, you know, let's think about the funnel, right? And they talk about the top of the funnel, and a lot of that is creating content and, you know, doing your social media, making videos and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people spend a whole lot of time there, right? And they build this audience, but when the audience gets to their landing page, the page where it's time to take money,
right,
it's trash. Spend your time getting that content together. Let's get the keywords right. Let's get the title right. Let's take great photos. Let's have great, you know, use the AI to write really compelling product descriptions. Let's get that page right first, and then start driving all the traffic to it. So guys, if you're going to take your AI and do something with it, work on that landing page, not even the home page, a landing page, a page where people give you their money.
Yes. And I would definitely agree with that. You'll see people spending money on ads. I'll see their ad on like my Instagram story feed or something, click on that. And then, yes, when it's ready to check out, I'm like,
who are you?
Yeah. I said,
I'm not sending my money to you.
Right. You spent all this money on this nice, I don't know, video ad, but then I go to where I'm supposed to get in. Okay. Yes. So thank you for sharing that. And with that said, though, how have you used AI? Okay, you said pay attention to the landing page. Can you use AI to help, you know, up level your landing page or help with conversions at all?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, you know, if anybody wants to reach out, just hit me up, john@johnlawson.com, and I will send you a great prompt. And it's not a long prompt, but it's a prompt that I've really optimized for product writing. Right?
Okay.
So it'll write the product descriptions, the titles, the bullet points. It'll do it all in a very, very compelling fashion. And you just really take that and put these on your pages. Start rewriting a lot of that content. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, before we let you go, John, one last thing. What is one thing you can share? What is a final thought that you would like to share based on giving us your story. And by the way, I learned, I know some of your story, but I learned even more about you today. So thank you. But based on your story and the message that you want to get out to everyone, what is one final thought you want to share with?
You know what? The final thought is, I can't even, man, just, it's so much. It's so much. Look, my final thought is I actually appreciate and sit at the feet of amazement of all of you guys that are doing entrepreneurial endeavors. It takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. This is not cut out for everybody. I get that. And we deal with so many challenges that are unique. We sit a lot of times in a very lonely space, you know, because everybody doesn't get what we already are doing or understand how we operate. So, you know, man, I'm in awe of all you guys. Keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing, and success is right around the corner. It's always right around the corner.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again, John, for gracing us with your presence. We greatly appreciate you being here, and we will talk to you soon.
It's not just another sale. It's not just another number on a screen. It's not just something that adds to the bottom line. It isn't even an it at all. The only thing that it is the commitment that we as business owners make with our customers after we make a sale. As entrepreneurs, as speakers, coaches, consultants, or any other type of business owner, it is our commitment to serve our clients or customers. It's our commitment to fulfill our promise and a commitment to help them make progress and get results. But it's even bigger than that, because here's the thing. Behind every sale is a person that has put their trust in you, the business owner. This person could be a dedicated student, a budding entrepreneur, a loving wife or husband, a hardworking mother of 3, a veteran, a startup, or even a retiree. But regardless of who it is, the reality is a sale represents so much more. It's a relationship, a bond, a connection. Here's the interesting part of all of this. The deeper that bond, the more sales you're making. The ironic part is when you shift your view away from the sale being a transaction or idolized number and shift towards the sale being the beginning of a relationship, you'll end up generating more sales in the long run. Because, after all, people like doing business with people they like. So when we as business owners make a sale, just remember, it's not the end. It's only just the beginning. Welcome to Future Proofing Your Business, Small Biz Fluence 2023.